Welcome, everybody, to Ignite Humanity Live. I'm your host, Lady JB Owen, coming to you with a little bit of a sore throat today, so please forgive me for sounding strange, but we'll get through it together, I promise. Well, today we're going to be talking about how to ignite humanity, how to step into that process of you living your best life, doing what you love to do, and in turn igniting and inspiring others to do what they love to do. It's a Tuesday, so we love to talk about awakening, how to wake up, how to step into, how to feel awakened, enlivened, enriched, inspired, all those wonderful ignite words that bring us those feelings of blessings and possibilities in our lives. And we do that by inviting interesting guests to come to the show and talk about how they have stepped into their mission to ignite humanity through their own powerful ignite moments. Those are those moments that change them and inspire them and redefine them and help them step into their purpose and their meaning. And in doing so, they are doing things to help others. I have to share that there comes a time in most of our lives where we realize it isn't about ourselves anymore. In fact, joy and bliss and that feeling of camaraderie comes from helping others to step into their greatness. And that comes when you've made that journey yourself. And we love to talk to people who have done just that. All right, well, let's introduce our guest, Dr. Aumatma Simmons, a distinguished professional with a dual board certification in neuropathic medicine and endocrinology, boasts nearly 15 years of clinical experience. Her expertise is primarily focused on fertility, a field in which she has authored 2 best-selling books. Recognized for her exemplary contributions to the neuropathic medicine, Dr. Aumatma has been honored with the best is I saying it right? Neuropathic nature. She's going to have to help me with this. The Naturopathic Medicine Doctor's Award and acclaimed as a leading figure in the Women in Medicine category. Dr. Aumatma is committed to providing personal care to couples, both in person and remotely, aiding them in navigating their fertility journeys. Moreover, she dedicates a portion of her practice to educating and mentoring other practitioners eager to specialize in fertility, thereby expanding their impact on humanity. Please welcome her to the show.
Thank you so much
Hello
for
and
having
welcome.
me.
Please forgive me. My cough medicine is making my brain a bit foggy. I apologize for messing up your bio. Tell us what I should have said.
It's naturopathic medicine. So
Naturopathic. Why
yeah,
did I say neuropathic? I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's so common, believe it or not.
So explain that for our listeners. What does that
Yeah,
word mean, in fact?
totally. That's a great question. So it's basically going back to nature, right? Like the idea that we within ourselves have the ability to heal ourselves. And there isn't a doctor or outside healer or things that we need. It's more like we're following our own guidance, our own intuition, and reconnecting with that part of ourselves that knows how to heal itself. So
Mm.
that, and then of course we instead of giving medications, we do natural things like herbal medicine and supplements and so many modalities that are down to earth, like back into nature kind of therapies.
So you must have thought it was like apropos that you came on the show on the day that I have a sore throat.
And I could be like, oh, there's so many things I could do.
It's true. I would love it. And you know what? I have always used, and for many years, used naturopathic medicine for my kids and for myself. And I always found with the children, they just respond to it so quickly. Talk a little bit about how the body knows how to heal itself.
We have the template of healing within ourselves. And even from, if we want to get esoteric for a second, the idea that the template of the right side of our body mimics the left side. So when something is broken, for example, we have a broken right arm, the template of it is already on the left side. So the body knows to like send the healing cells that are going to cause inflammation, that are going to increase the blood flow and circulation, that are going to do the repair to heal that bone. So the idea is like we have that template, our body just innately knows. And of course, I would say there's obviously a use of medicine healers and doctors and things like that, but it creates a partnership with the other person rather than I know how to fix you, right? Like I don't approach my work as a fixing or like, oh, let's make that go away. It's more like, okay, let's really hear what the body is saying. If you're, for example, we can link it back to fertility. If you're having difficulty getting pregnant, it's not what can I do or what can I give you to make your body do something that it's naturally not doing. It's more like, can I really listen? Can I hear why this is not happening? And for each couple, for each person, that why is going to be really different. So then we get into the asking the questions of, okay, so what happened that your body is feeling like not reproducing is the wisest choice? And instead of overpowering that, it's like, okay, let's work with your body. Let's make it so that your body can actually get what it needs so that it feels comfortable, safe, and nourished enough to reproduce.
It's so wonderful that you say that because you're right. Lots of times we're trying to mask or layer over or fix what's wrong with us, and there really isn't anything wrong with us at all.
Right.
I'm sure you
Right.
agree.
Yes.
But inviting the body to share the messages or the coding or the underlining understanding that it already has is quite fascinating. Was there an origin to this methodology? Where did this all come from?
Well, it's thousands of years old, right? There are cultures around the world like Ayurveda from India or traditional Chinese medicine from China that have been saying these things for so long. But the Western version of naturopathic medicine, essentially what I studied in the US here, is is a blending of different cultures around the world that have contributed to this body of knowledge that nature is within us. We are part of nature. Nature has the ability to heal, and hence we have the ability to heal ourselves. We as doctor and patient are in partnership, not I know everything about you, so I'm going to give you the fix, right? So there, it just like twists so many of our assumptions on its head. And it's perfect you're talking about awakening today, because it's really like, can we expand our awareness to a different approach that is just has the ability to call out something in us that we already know exists. It's truly like it's coming from within us. It's not someone saying this is the only way or this
Right.
is the right way, right? It's just like another option, another thing that we can try on and be like, does that fit? Is
Right.
this the right thing for me? And a lot of times the people that we work with will come in and say, like, I'm not sure if this is the right fit, but what I do know is all the other things I've tried haven't worked.
Mhm.
So do you think that you can help? So it's really, we have the opportunity to come within that awareness for ourselves and say, hey, maybe the way that Western medicine has approached health and healing and wellness and fertility and all the things, it is not the only way. Not that it's the right or wrong way, it's just not the only way. And that there
Mm.
are other approaches that may have more meaning to us and may bring us into a greater state of health and well-being than the ones that we've tried before.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating because a lot of times our symptoms are messages, deep messages that
Yes.
go far beyond just our symptoms. I'm also a big proponent of homeopathy. And just with this cold alone, I've read so many things. Is it watery? Is it green? Is it wet? Is it barking? Is it coughing? Is it, do you feel irritated from heat? Are you around cold? Is it nighttime? Is it
Yeah.
daytime?
Yeah.
Like there's so many facets. Why and speak to the power of the symptoms is more than there's such a deeper message.
Yes. This is like so powerful, and I feel like I've been saying it on in as many places as I can, in as many ways as I can, because I feel like we are, until something goes really, really wrong, until we're in the hospital with a heart attack, we're not listening to all the things that our body is saying, right? So, oh, I had a heart attack at 50 out of nowhere. Well, probably not true, right?
Right.
But it's just that I didn't listen up to that point, and now I'm surprised by the fact that I had a heart attack. But if I had been listening all along, I wouldn't be as surprised. I would maybe have chosen to do something different along that 20, 30-year period where I was leading myself down that path without realizing it. And I think that our culture like normalizes so much when it comes to women's health. I feel like the messages that keep getting repeated to us are about, oh, you're in pain. That's normal. Oh,
Right.
your hormones are out of whack. That's normal. You have PMS. Totally normal. You're a crazy woman. Not that, hey, something is going on that's making you feel that way. And instead of invalidating your experience and saying it's normal, I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to be the translator, because that's what I've learned and trained to do in this lifetime, right? So talking
Right, because
to,
we start to like diminish our, oh, my knee's been hurting for months, and we just sort of
yes,
kind of like diminish it. Whereas you would be like, oh, well, we should listen to that. Why is your knee been hurting for months and it's
yeah,
not normal? Or I have a stomach ache, or whatever our symptoms are that we put up with actually is our body giving us big alarm bells that we just keep
totally.
kind of like ignoring until that alarm bell goes really big, as you just said,
Yeah,
potentially, as the example with someone having a heart attack.
yeah.
Is there small things that we can wake up to that are common messages from the body for us to pay more attention?
Hmm. I I think that any deviation from feeling amazing in our
Mhm.
body, mind, and spirit
Good
is
point.
an indicator that something is veering off track. And it may not be a huge off track, right? Like you may be 1% off. However, and like I'm in a work in progress too. So I'm not saying I'm constantly like seeing that 1% off. But if we're on the trajectory of 1% off, that 1% can take us in a completely different direction
True, yeah.
if we
And
keep going.
multiply over time and just,
Right.
like, exasperate.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can kind of like keep checking on ourselves. And I think that for women, I feel like there's a different answer than for men. For
Right.
women, I think that we need to listen to our own intuition more. I think our intuition is guiding us constantly. It's constantly like in the back of your head. You might be like, "Oh, I've been bloated for like 3, 4, 5 days," right? And part of you wants to write it off because, "Ugh, I don't want to deal with that. I don't know what to do
Right.
about it." But if that continues, if that grows, if that becomes like 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, then we're looking at a significant indicator light that we have ignored. I had a
Mhm.
client yesterday who was having a big aha moment because she's like, "Oh my God, I drink chamomile tea like literally every day, every night to go to bed. And I feel like I have great sleep. But when I don't drink the tea, I'm not bloated in the middle of the night, which is causing me to not sleep well." So we and there's tests for everything, and I really like testing. So I'm like super woo and super science at the same time. So
Wonderful.
we did a test, and she's like, "Oh, I'm really sensitive to chamomile. Are you serious?" And I was
Wow.
like, "Yeah, so this is it." So she stops doing it, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm already feeling so much better by not doing the thing that I thought I was doing for my health." Right?
It's
So
true.
we have so many assumptions about it. I think for men, it's they are like kind of have been trained to not verbalize what it is that's happening for them. So they
Mm.
will go longer periods of time with, oh, everything's fine, everything's fine. The number of men that we have seen that go from everything's perfect and fine to I feel amazing, what did you do to me? And like they already felt fine, right? But now that they feel amazing, they're like, oh, I didn't feel so good back then. But they didn't have a sense of
Right.
that because it was like kind of pushed under a rug for so long.
Right.
And so much of it we write off to, oh, it's my age, right?
Mm.
Like I'm getting older. So yeah,
Mm.
of course my knees hurt and my body hurts and I need to like stretch in the morning and my stomach is bloated and like all of these things that we write off to age, being a woman, being hormonal, being
Stress.
menopausal, like so many things that we can like label onto it
Mhm.
versus if we live with the intention of how can I feel my best, body, mind, and spirit every day,
Right.
then we have a very different approach to feeling and listening to our body signals.
I'm so in you with this because when I was had my kids were little, there was a lot of other little kids around my kids, and lots of them had super runny noses or had coughs all the time, or just had symptoms. And mom was giving them cheese or giving them ice cream or giving them chocolate or giving them pop or giving them apple juice or all these kinds of things, and they would just say, "Oh, little Johnny always has a runny nose. Little Johnny's always coughing." And then as a child, you learn that that's just the way you are. You always cough, you always have a runny
Mm,
nose, and then you go into your adulthood and whatever, just giving yourself that label when really
totally.
it's not how it's supposed to be. And so I'm
Yeah.
with you. If you're not feeling wonderful and optimum, then something is off balance.
Yes.
Let's shift gears a little. Let me ask you, what started all of this? What brought you into this profession? What made you so passionate about this work?
Well, so I have a story about how I got into naturopathic medicine. I mostly like felt intuitively that there had to be a way to integrate the body, mind, and spirit. And going through undergrad and experiencing the separation, it was like religion, psychology, and biology. If you want to be a doctor, go do the biology route, right? And so I was on the biology track and kept trying to shift. I was like, I want to do religion. I want to see how all these things integrate. I'm an integrated human. And my professors were like, you are a hippie. You need to
Ah,
move to California. and, but intuitively, like that was what was calling to me. And I couldn't turn it off. It was a voice so loud that I just like kept going back to it. And I was like, going to medical school is kind of caving into something that I don't actually fully agree with. So, and like I didn't even know what I wasn't agreeing with. I just like felt it, if that makes sense. And then a month before graduation, a pamphlet in the mail at my parents' house, which normally would be thrown away. I happened to be there that weekend and like looked at it and it said Body, Mind, Spirit Medical School on the cover. And I was like, what? Rip it open. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be a naturopathic doctor. And like literally within 5 seconds, I knew that it had found me because
mm,
I like couldn't go out and seek it out. I thought I was seeking it out. No one knew about it, right? This is 25, 27 years ago. It wasn't nearly as popular as it is now, and it's still not very popular.
right.
So yeah, that was naturopathic medicine. Then I went to school, loved it all. Never in a million years did I think I would land in doing fertility and women's health. I had always been more geared towards like anxiety and depression, and all my patients while I was in school were mental health patients. They were like bipolar and schizophrenia, and like I literally treated all the medical disorders, mental
Wow.
disorders. And so I assumed that that was always going to be my path. And my mom got cancer really soon after I graduated medical school.
Mm,
And that put me on a completely different trajectory. I now was trying to figure out how to help her live past the 3 weeks that she had been given to live.
Oh my goodness.
And I like went into it super deep, and I came out on the other side thinking, oh, I guess I'm going to do cancer therapy, because the 3 weeks that she had to live, she's still around 3 years later. This is great. She did pass away, but she lived a really beautiful, nice life for that 3 years of time that were kind of in her mind like bonus, right? So I kind of like felt good about that, and I was like, oh, I must be calling to do cancer, and I have to help all the cancer people, and the doors just kept closing. And I was like, something is off about this. And like, I was married at the time. My husband at the time wanted to have a child, and every time he talked about babies, my uterus would just like be screaming no, with lots of curse words in there. Like, no, there's no way I want to do that. And I didn't know what that response was. I was like, I got married. I thought I wanted to have children. I don't know what's happening. And it took me about literally like 9 to 10 months. I meditated, I went really deep, and I was like, what is my body saying? Because if I override it, then I will be going along with something that isn't right. And I don't know why it's not right. Do I not want to have children? Do I not want to have children with him? What is it? And I came out of that reflection period and research period. Honestly, I went deep into the fertility research and like, what can I do? Because if I leave him, then does that mean I'll never have a child? And am I okay with that? And like literally went through all the questions from the intuition side and the science. And I came out with it just feeling like there is a really big amount of misconception around fertility. I was taught the same misconceptions. I freaked out because of those misconceptions around like, oh, if you get to a certain age, you're not going to get pregnant anymore. That's it. That's the end for you, blah, blah, blah. So I like going through all of that. I just got more and more angry and upset that we had been taught, and we were being told as women what we were being told. So I started talking about what I was finding. And then all of a sudden, like, the floodgates opened, and literally, like, everybody that heard what I was talking about at the time, like 15, 16 years ago, like, not a lot of naturopathic doctors even talking about fertility. So they were like, you can help me. You can help me get pregnant. And I was like,
And now, do you have a list? Do you have a number of how many babies you've helped bring into the world?
887 or something like that. Yeah.
Wow. That's
So,
definitely igniting humanity. Congratulations and thank you for that. Bring together the correlation between living this more natural way and how that is going to ultimately help humanity going forward.
well, I think we're at a really big precipice, and I don't know that we realize that we're at this precipice. And that is the rates at which fertility is declining and going down in couples is scary. It's really scary. So if we start looking at the numbers, within 20 years, it's been predicted that most men will be azoospermic, which means they have no sperm. Not that they're good or bad. They just don't have any. And that's a really scary reality for me. So my place, or like my mission, if we want to call it that, is really to awaken us to the idea that if we don't do something about this, if we stay on the path that we're on, we're headed for something that we even right now don't realize is potentially like the end of humanity, right? And I don't say it to like sound scary or whatever. It's really like if men don't have sperm, we could make sperm out of, like, we will have whatever's frozen, but then what? Like, if we don't have a way to reproduce, we don't exist. So I think that we're at this road where there are amazing technological scientific advances such as IVF that are helping us make sure that we continue to reproduce. However, there are, on average, 70% of the people that end up on that route still don't end up with a child. So
Correct.
what about that 70%? What about all the people that have tried and not been able to succeed, or that can't afford it, or that don't want to put all of those hormones into their bodies? So there is a really big percentage of people that really need another avenue, that need another option. So my hope is that everybody that wants to have a child, that believes that their purpose and their calling is in having a child that contributes to our society in a beautiful, meaningful way, be able to do that. Not that everyone should, not that everyone needs to, but the people that are called to it have the ability to.
Are able.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful blessing, such a beautiful mission. And it's true. I had no idea of that. And thank you for educating us on that and all of the things involved in that. Folks, if you want to know more about what Dr. Aumatma is doing, please reach out and check out her website. Hopefully and wonderfully, I know that she could help and support you in your journey, in your best health and best you. We appreciate you so much for being on this show. You've given me lots to think about. I'm actually going to go and do some research about that. I love it when my guests give me new things to think about. And that's what this show is all about. It's absolutely sharing ways that humanity has to wake up and be aware of what is possible and what is coming to us in our future. We thank you so much, Dr. Aumatma. Have a great day and blessings. Thank you so much for sharing.
For having me.
Folks, I hope that was informative. It certainly was for me. And this is what the show is about, sparking new ideas, creating things for you to think about, ways for you to think differently, opportunities for you to investigate. And maybe, just maybe, somebody on the show, like Dr. Aumatma, shares something that you feel resonates with you, or you feel inspires you, or you decide that maybe it's important to reach out and get a little bit more information to help you live a better life. Well, we hope that Igniting Humanity is part of your mission. If you'd like to know more what we're up to, check out our website and see what we're doing. Go to ignitehumanity.life and see our compilation book, our events, and the schools that we're building around the globe. See how we are igniting humanity and how you can be a part of that. All right, well, I hope you have a great day. I promise to feel even better tomorrow. We'll see you then. Take care.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world and all of our futures.